Welcome! I'm Luyren, and this is my Stencyl Resource Pack tutorial series, where I explain and showcase the resource packs I have developed for use in your Stencyl games. Resource Pack Update, Experience Overhaul and Simple Text Display. This is an update to my RPG Elements pack, which rendered some information from a previous tutorial video obsolete, so here we are. I've completely overhauled the experience behavior from the RPG Elements and cutscene packs, as well as added 2 new behaviors related to enemy defeated awards and 1 for compatibility with behaviors from my upcoming combat pack. I've also made a sample game for the RPG Elements, which you can play in the itch.io page and import into Stencyl when you download the pack. Documentation has been expanded as well, with a table of contents, more images, and a better explanation on how to integrate RPG elements into your games. I've also added a simple text display event in the Simple Events Manager behavior, which is the free demo of my cutscene pack. Let's quickly go over all these changes. The RPG Elements pack sample game features several scenes with on-screen buttons you can click to alter status for an actor. You can cycle through all the available debug options and see how the actor's status, resistances, and statistics change. It also shows how money and inventory work. More detailed explanation can be found by clicking the question mark button in each scene, and in the included documentation. I hope this can properly showcase some of what you can do with this pack. The experience behavior had a complete overhaul, so let's go over the changes. You can now store multiple experience types in a single map attribute, each type with their own settings. On the map key, you configure the name of your experience type, and the value are all the settings in the order: initial experience, initial level, max level, experience limit, experience multiplier, experience display speeds, increase sound, decrease sound and level up sound, float message font, experience got message, level up got message, and triggers to call when you level up. These are all similar from the old version of the behavior, which you can reference in the old video. A few things are worth mentioning though. You can set your current experience to -1 and the initial level to 0 if you want to have an experience type hidden before you get any experience on it. You can also create an experience type which only stores points, for example skill points. The experience limit can be set to max to match the experience required for the maximum level, or you can give it any number you want. For the experience display speeds, if you're using an experience type that doesn't have levels, like in this example, don't use the percentage option. The float message font option is used to display a floating message whenever you get experience points. This is only available in Luyren's Cutscene Resource Pack RPG variation, so if you're only using the RPG elements, leave this parameter as a dash. Each experience type also has its own display options. Like before, you can use gauges or icons, but you can now also use animated icons by setting the animation to animation between square brackets and setting the number of experience points per icon. Here are some examples of the display actors. A gauge can have as many animation frames as you want, so long as frame 0 is the gauge empty and the last frame is the gauge full. You can also use the display positions to only have an icon, without its frame or animation tied to the experience points. And an animated icon changes animations instead of changing frames. So in this case, each icon holds 3 experience points. For multiple icons, after you set their position, add a slash and repeat the process for more icons. Remember that icon display only works for fixed experience per level. And at the start of their settings, you set the actor type to create, the style if it's an icon or a gauge, the active state if this display can always be shown or only shown if the experience type is active, and the level 0 hide setting determines if this display is always shown or if it's hidden when the given experience type is at level 0. Since I mentioned active type, you set here the active experience type to one of the keys you create in the experience types map. The active experience type can make use of the display options to only show itself when it's active or not, can be tied to other attributes by using this format, so you can switch it during gameplay, and can be used to change your experience types by these behavior's triggers, which will be explained shortly. The required experience map also is done on a pure experience type basis. Set the automatic progression you want and experience growth separated by a comma. Add a vertical bar and the list of experience points per level separated by commas, starting at level 0. You can also opt to not have an automatic progression. Like in the old version, you can manually configure part of the requirements list and the automatic progression will complete the rest, up to the maximum level. The Learn set also had a few changes. You now have to specify the experience name, a comma, and the level in which you learn skills. And to learn a skill, you actually have to type in skill, a comma, and the name of the skill. In the cutscene pack, you can also increase the charge level, which is done by typing charge, adding a comma, the charge type, and the amount to increase. Lastly, the experience drawings, especially for gauges, now have the option to select an experience type tied to it. And the color of the gauge can be changed based on the experience type by configuring the colors map, in which you set the red, green and blue values of the border, the background and the gauge. For the triggers, the level up trigger now only levels up the currently active experience type. There is also the new reset experience trigger, which will reset the points of the active experience type to the base amount for the current level. For example, an experience type that needs 200 experience points to reach level 2 and has currently 400 experience points will be reset back to 200 if the trigger is used. The custom blocks was also updated. You now specify the experience type you want to modify the experience of. You do have a few special options. By setting the type to active between square brackets, you only modify the currently active experience type. By setting type to a dash, you modify all experience types for this actor. By setting the amount to level between square brackets, you automatically level up the experience type. And by setting it to reset between square brackets, you apply the same as the reset experience trigger, but to the specified experience type. The difficulty mode behavior has also been updated to be a bit more flexible. You now set specific events for each change you want per difficulty. So now you can use a trigger event to call trigger for specific difficulties. The set value event better organizes the old attribute set, and the kill event remains the same. One addition though is that you can now set an actor value or an attribute to a value stored on this list in the behavior. So for example, instead of typing the actual value, I type in index between square brackets and the index number, which will retrieve the value on this list. If your new difficulty values aren't being set properly because you need commas or slashes, use this feature. And as you can see, the kill event remains the same. The used skill behavior had a minor update. You now have a boolean to automatically sort the skills list whenever you learn a new skill. And you can also do this manually by calling the sort skills trigger. The skills list is sorted based on a database game attribute, which you type the name in here and configure under Settings. Next are two behaviors related to awards when an enemy is defeated. These will be used with my upcoming AI and Combat resource pack. So standalone, these behaviors won't do much. In the awards when defeated behavior, you configure all the awards in the awards list, and they are awarded directly to the actor that defeated this actor. You have experience awards, money award, and item awards, with the option to create new ones if you so choose. One important feature is the award index. As you can see in the default values, most of them uses dashes, meaning these are always awarded to the player. But if set this to a number, only the first award with that number that passes its award chance will be given. So for example, if I set the award index here to 0, at a 100% chance, the money award will always be given. But since award index 0 was already used, this one will never be called. That's a way to limit the amount of awards this actor can give. The drop item behavior works in a similar way. It creates actors intended as dropped items when this actor is defeated. Among all the parameters, you also have the drop index, which works the same way as the award index. You have the option to add pickup effects to the created actor, which are used in the item pickup behavior from the cutscene resource pack. This means you can have a single actor that acts as a drop icon of sorts and simply modify its effect here, instead of creating multiple actors, each with their pickup effects. Both behaviors have the drop multiplier attribute, which is a combat statistic retrieved from the attacking actor. It's one of the default values in the combat statistic attribute, and it affects the drop rate and the award rate. The last addition to this pack is the Compatibility Blocks behavior. This has pre-built blocks compatible with my upcoming AI and Combat pack. Once you import both packs into your game, you can simply move all these blocks, copy them, and paste them on the appropriate behaviors. I will properly explain the process in an upcoming video. Next, the Simple Events Manager behavior, which is the free demo of my cutscene resource pack, was updated with a simple text display event. You can set your events to proceed after the text is displayed, or wait for the player to dismiss it. And you call the text with a preset name. The preset name is configured in the text presets here. The name is the key, and the value is the text to display. You can use this symbol to break lines. Here you configure if the text is displayed relative to the screen or to the actor, a font, and the position of the text, and the key to dismiss the text. You can also dismiss the text by calling the dismiss text trigger. And one more addition, you can trigger the cutscene when your actor of a specific group enters a region. Enable instance customization, set activated to false, activate by region to true, select your region, and the group of actors that will trigger the events. The simple text display doesn't have any of the features of the cutscene pack, such as drawing letter by letter, the special commands, automatic line breaking, portraits, display names, but at least now you have a free resource to display simple text on cutscenes. This covers all the current changes in my resource packs. As always, links to all my resource packs will be in the description below. I'll also leave a link to my Twitter if you want updates on what I'm currently working on. Any questions you have you can ask in the comment section below, in the Stencyl forums, or in the Stencyl Discord server. Thank you so much for watching.